Welcome back to part 2 of this mock interview with Dre. Now, one of the pushbacks I get a ton is, why are we doing algorithm interviews for front end role, especially for junior role? And I think I've come to appreciate over time, as frustrating as an interviewer, as an interviewee, the value of algorithms to be able to quickly identify developers who've put in a lot of time and done the work and understand how to problem solve and understand the language mechanics really well. And so we're going to be working through what is, I think it's maybe a little bit more challenging problem than you'd expect in a junior interview, but it was really useful for me able to understand how Dre thinks and for me to be able to kind of identify maybe some weaknesses and see if he's a good fit to bring on as a junior developer. So hopefully it's super useful, and yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. Nice, welcome back. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Yep, you got it in there. Perfect. Okay. Let me go ahead and set my timer. And you're a go. So does it make sense? The problem I got you there.
Giving an array of strings array, find all the words that only appear in the single array. For example, this will return hello, goodbye, bravo. Hold on. I'm reading it, but I'm trying to.
You're fine.
Reading it, but hold on. Given an array of strings. So there's an array and then there's an array. There's two arrays inside of it.
Yep.
With strings. Find all the words that only appear in a single array. For example, this will return hello, goodbye, and bravo.
Notice the big thing is this alpha. It appears in both arrays, so it's not returned.
Okay.
So notice hello's listed twice. That's fine. It's in the same array. That's fine. I just don't want multiple it returned from multiple arrays. So alpha's in two arrays, so we don't want that.
Oh, okay. So you want to make sure it's not in the other array.
Yeah, and there could be multiple arrays. There could be hundreds of these arrays. So I gave you two, but there could be many.
Okay.
So this is...
I would loop through the array.
Okay.
And then I would... Ooh, this is not going to be good for time. Okay, then I'm going to loop through each array inside of those arrays to see if... Okay, so I'm going to loop through the array, and then I'm going to loop through each word in the array. And then I'm going to check each word to see if it's in other arrays. If it's not in other arrays, I'm going to create a variable that is an empty array. And if it's not in those other arrays, I'm going to push it to that array. Does that sound like it would work?
Yeah, that sounds like that might work.
Okay. And then if it is in the other words, then I just do nothing.
Yeah.
This is my first go round. I don't want to just seem like I start typing like.
No, that's good. I mean, it's good to hear your thought process there, and feel free if you want to pseudocode it first time through and just kind of get thinking through it. But however you want to do it, I just want to kind of see how you think through things.
I'm gonna try and not necessarily pseudocode it, but I'm just gonna write out my thoughts so you can see.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to create a empty array. That's just gonna pretty much be what I return to for the answer.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna create a for loop. Create a for loop, and this is so I can loop through the actual array, the big array, and then I want to create a loop inside of that. A loop inside to loop through the words in each of its arrays. Like I said earlier. Words. Then I want to check each word to make sure it's not in the other arrays. Good. Return. Push to if it's And dang, I can't type. All right, good.
Makes sense.
All right, so I'm just gonna say let answer. Does that make sense enough? Like it's gonna be the answer that I'm gonna return, so that's what I'm gonna
Yeah,
do.
it works.
Let answer just gonna be equal to an empty array. Then I'm gonna do a for loop to loop through the main array. Oh gosh, gotta create a function. And it's gonna take in an array. What should I call this?
Let's just say like get unique words.
Get function. Get unique. Function get unique words that takes in a parameter of array. I'm just the script for this. Okay, now we can start. It's inside. Reason. Let it's there. Cool. An empty array. Then we're gonna loop through the array. Zero. It's definitely H plus. Good. Am I doing good? I feel like I'm not talking enough.
This is good. This is good.
I just want to create a test case so I can see what I'm doing at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then get your good. Okay, let's just test this out. It's working for that one. As it should. That's what it should be doing, right? I'm asking myself. Yeah. We're good. Okay. And then I want to loop through RI, the first the elements in the array. So I'm going to create another loop. Yeah, it's less than. Now we just want to check the values. Let me make sure this is working though. Oh, I'm not getting it. Is this not working? Am I doing something wrong?
I think
That's wrong.
yeah, it's yeah, there you go.
Okay, so hello, I'm getting hello, goodbye, hello, alpha. Got it. If just if statement, if R I J if how can I check the other arrays? I ain't think of that. Hold on. Do you think I could like take out this array, right? say I'm on the first iteration
Yeah.
of the arrays, right?
Yeah.
If I take that one out of the array, the first array,
Yeah.
and then just like have create a new array pretty much of just the other arrays, but like have them all single words, and then check the values. You think that would work? You understand what I'm saying?
I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I'd say go for it, and then we'll see.
Okay. See if this works. I have a syntax error. I don't know what it is. Oh, I don't know how to implement that on camera. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Ooh. Give me a second. Let's see how to use slice. Log. Slice 0, 1. But I lost the other one. 1. That just gives me nothing. 0. It also gives me nothing. Okay, if I just do 1. Okay, I'm confused. Can you help me use this?
Yeah, so slice, if you want to use slice, the first argument is where you want to start slicing, and the second one is where you want to stop slicing. So if you start slicing at the first index, then it's going to just take the first one to the end. So this is why you're seeing it grab the second array. If you started at 0, it's going to grab everything. And so if you just want, if you want just that, it'll give you just the first one. Yeah.
Okay. Let's slice. First slice. I'm doing this so I can increment my slices.
Okay.
First. Equal 0.
Why you slice them? No, what's the approach there?
I'm trying to get this out, this array out, so I can check if the word that I'm on is in this my other array. If I made that make any sense. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
Out the array, right? I'm trying to take this hello, goodbye, hello array, alpha out the array, and then I want to loop through that array and check if any of the words are in Bravo. I feel I'm finding some bugs as I keep thinking about it, though. Because if this was a bigger data set, I'm finding problems. That's not gonna work. Okay.
There's 2 arrays in there, but there could be 2,000. So.
Got any hints?
Yeah, so I think you're thinking the right things earlier, where you were you want to go through for each array, you want to track what's in there, and then for each subsequent array, you need to say, hey, has any of these words existed in any of the previous arrays? If so, we don't want to include it. If not, maybe it's unique.
Okay.
So that may not be helpful, but something to think about.
I'm not gonna slice it. I don't think that's gonna work. And do. loop through each other array and just use the includes method. And if they all return false, then that will work, I think. Okay, let's try and code this out. Let's try and do something. So our log, let's just see something. Yeah, actually it's words. Okay, hello. Okay, so yeah. I don't need another loop. Oh, I'm lost. So if hello is in R, This is a tough one.
This one's tough. This one's tough, no doubt about it.
How much time we got left?
You're only halfway through. You got plenty of time.
I got 20 minutes to come up with something.
Yeah, just get as far as you can, and you know this one's tricky.
Check each one. Now I need to see each array. Each array. RJ. If it's one, I see a bug in this, but hold on. Includes here it comes. Who cannot read properties of undefined reading includes. What is it saying? I know why it's saying that. This problem's not, it's bad. It's hard, but it's not.
It's hard. So talk me through what you got here. Talk me through what you got.
So what I was trying to do is I'm trying to use each subarray. So I'm trying to use the subarrays, and I'm trying to see if it includes the letters, the words hello, goodbye, hello. But I'm not trying to use the actual array that I'm looping through. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm looping through this. I'm not trying to use this. I'm just trying to use the second one and the others.
Yeah.
If I'm in this array, I don't want to use it. I just want to check the other ones. That's probably why I'm getting false. Well, no, I don't know why I'm getting false, actually.
I think you're on track here. Just basically, you're trying to check for every word if it's in its current array.
No, not if it's in its current array. If it's in the, I don't want to check the current array. I want to check the other arrays.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, because what you're doing right now is you're saying You're checking its current array because
Yeah.
I is always going to be the array it's in.
Yeah. But I was trying to do the +1 to
Yeah.
make next.
Yeah. So what you want to do is maybe what are some other ways to check the other arrays?
What are some other ways to check the other way?
Yeah, because there could be hundreds of these arrays. So what are some ways to look at the other ones, but not your current one?
Ooh, what are some other ways to look at the other ones, but not your current one?
A bit of a tongue twister. Well, let me maybe take you in a different direction here. So what you want to do is you just want to keep track of the amount of like the words in each array, right? And you want to have a central place that you can check against and just say, hey, has this existed in other arrays? Yes or no. For every array, you need to check it against all the other arrays.
Yes.
And instead of trying to just loop through all of them, one approach is to have a central place that you could like check against. So keep a record as you go through and just say, hey, has this word happened before? If so, we want to drop it. Otherwise, we want to include it, if that makes sense. Trying to give you a point in the direction without like using the words. But I think you're on track to basically say you want to go through all the arrays. And you just need to check all their contents and just say, hey, this master record that I have, does that exist in the master record or not? And if so, I don't want to, include it. If so, I do want to include it.
Okay, so you're basically saying you have to go through each array, but instead of looping through, like doing like a million loops like I am, there's a single loop that I could do. And if I've seen this word before, then drop it. And if I haven't, then keep going. And if you get to the end, then add it to my answer array.
Yeah, it's assume it is unique until you see a repeat.
Okay. But I still have a problem because that double hello.
There's a couple ways to for each array just make sure that you make sure that the words in there are all unique. So in other words, just rip out all the duplicates. So there's a couple of tricks in JavaScript to like just as you encounter each array, just make sure it's you take out all the duplicates.
Take out all the duplicates. That's easy. You just filter. And if you see it, if you haven't seen it, you know. Probably. No, hello, goodbye. Leave this. I don't know what this does. I'm still lost. I start at this point. Yeah, let's start trying stuff. Outside of the studio. Let me see if I can join the. No, that wouldn't work. But it might. No, it wouldn't. Yeah, it might. No, it won't. I don't think it will. Join a sub-array just so I can get it to one array. Sure. That work. Kinda. So I got hello, goodbye, hello, out. We took it out the sub-arrays. Then Nah, I'm still lost. Yeah, I'm still lost.
You're good. You're good. You're good. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. Well, let me ask you this. So let's assume I just want unique words. I don't care. I just like, for example, what if I just wanted goodbye and bravo? In other words, they only occur once in the entire matrix.
Okay.
How would you do that? If that makes sense. So I don't care about if it's unique in each of it. I just want across all of the words, is it unique?
Got you.
Yeah, so yeah, goodbye and bravo.
Let's see what turns to array. No. Oh, no, I just put it back in the array. Dummy.
You're just taking a little tour around. Gonna show it both sides of life.
Can I loop do this now? No, I can't. That little space right there is killing me. That might have did something. No, I didn't. Because it's still just putting it back into the array. There we go. So now you just don't want duplicates, right?
Yeah, just no duplicates.
I'm gonna start this over. I need this. So I'm gonna switch R to equal what I just created. And then I'm gonna loop through R now.
Okay. Yeah.
I equal 0. I is less than R. LE-GTH. Length. I plus. Going. And then just constant log I from here, which iteration of R I did that wrong. Okay, cool. So if create an empty array variable, let answer, use that. If R I my bad. If answer dot includes R I. If answer does not includes RI, you get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
RI is not an answer. Answer dot push RI, and then if you log enter, I have a syntax error.
I think you need one more parentheses before the curly brace on line 16. Actually, to the right of R, I. Yeah, right there. Just one more parentheses before the curly brace.
Oh.
Yeah. Right there. Yep. That should be it.
Wait, that did not work.
Okay, we are at time. We're at time. I'll see you on the other side. We'll do a bit of a debrief, and we'll walk through the answer.
Dang, that did not work. That should have worked. All right.
I'll let you play around with it. How do you feel like it went? Let's start with the verbal section, and then we'll go to the code section. We'll start with the verbal. How do you feel like the verbal went?
The verbal section, if I had to rate myself, I'd give myself a 8. I think I did pretty solid. I think I had a solid foundation of the questions you were asking, and of just JavaScript.
What would you say some areas you'd want to improve moving forward on that section?
A lot of React stuff, like the custom hooks and stuff, I think I need to improve on. I didn't have much experience when you had asked that class question, like when to use this. I just don't use them like classes when I'm building some of my personal projects out. So I would say I need to improve there. And what was another one? If you could tell me, what was some of the ones that you said, the questions that you said may have needed improvement? So I could.
Yeah, I'll just kind of give you my areas of improvement, and we can maybe kind of go back and forth a little bit, so that way you don't have to just remember all the questions. I think you've kind of demonstrated, your ability to get in and out of JavaScript. I think being able to pick up like a second language, just even if it's just like to be competent, just so that way you can have some contrast. I think, you kind of mentioned, looking at Python and being like, being able to make some contrast, just to be able to have a little bit more, conversation, to be able to say, hey, here's what I liked it and like those kind of things. That's an easy win. Kind of the use cases to use for loop versus for each, that kind of thing. That's an easy thing to improve. So one of the big things is for each, it's going to go through the entire thing, the beginning to end. And a for loop, you can break out of it. So it could be useful to just say, hey, I want to return or I want to do a break. It could be useful. This is not like the keyword this is not really like a huge topic like it used to be, but some people really harp on it and are really big into class-based conversation, topics. So for those reasons, it might be useful to know. And that's one of the main reasons to bother with the arrow notation versus using the function keyword. It's because of context. And we can look a little bit into this when I share my editor, but they just handle this differently. So one is on definition and one is on call. So when you call it, the this versus when you use it, when you define it. So anyway, that's kind of like it sounds one of those nitty gritty things, but some people really harp on it. And destructuring, just kind of getting to the point where you're like, yeah, okay, I've used it. I don't like it, use it, make up your own opinion, don't use it, but at least have been familiar with it. And custom hooks. Again, that's one of those, I know it's a React thing, but once you kind of experience it, it's a pretty useful thing and it could be kind of handy to like showcase. But those are my improve. I have a lot more positive things, but based on that, do you have anything you'd want to tweak or add?
No, I'd agree. Like I just didn't remember the specific questions, but yeah, when you reflect, I didn't understand. But now when you mention it, it's obvious that that's when you would want to use a for loop, is to break out of it.
Yeah.
I've just never used another language, so I wouldn't be able to compare it with anything else. And then, like you said, I'd never used object destructuring.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's an easy thing to implement with a quick YouTube video, but I've never.
Well, the problem is you're good enough that I forget to treat you like a junior. So I'm like, I kind of escalated the questions a little bit. That's a good thing, is you're almost like your brain started to kind of mid level you a little bit. And that kind of led me to ask some, follow up on some of the questions and ask some harder ones, but really, totally like expected that some of these are going to be a little bit harder. I was trying to find where the line is, but here's some good things. Here's things I would say you killed it. You had actually played around with other languages. I thought that was good. Like you've actually know what other languages are. I know that sounds trivial. I like that you did mention, hey, I do like in JavaScript, you can console log things out. I feel like that was at least showed some awareness there. You were really good about being able to know, hey, I want to filter this. Knowing some of those methods on arrays was really great. Like the online offline question, you were like really easy. Boom, I'd have 2 arrays, one for online, one for offline. Like it was immediate. Like I thought that was really great. It just showed that you messed around with this stuff a lot. You're one of the few people who could like really easily tell the difference between like a map and a for each. Like most people are like, well, it kind of like they both go it and give a non-answer, but you had a real good answer. And I thought that was like, wow, awesome. So I felt great about that. You've messed around with TypeScript. That's always a win. Some places are going to say, hey, so they're going to do the whole interview in TypeScript, and we didn't. But like, I thought that was great that you'd messed around with it and kind of knew enough to be conversational at minimum. And the comparing 2 strings, and I said, hey, I want to know how many words are in each. those kind of things. Make sure that do they have the same number of words, 2 strings? And you were able to say, well, yeah, you just do a dot split, and then you would do the dot length. Easy. And you immediately knew that. And I was like, oh, right. Okay, that's great. So that was awesome. Oh, array destructuring. So that was good. You're like, I do array destructuring. And I was like, oh, okay, you know what that is. It's not like you just use a React thing. You knew that it was array destructuring. And that I thought was good, being able to kind of identify that's what's going on. So that was good. Let's transition to algorithm. So what would be some areas you'd want to improve for next time?
Just some personal things, like just because I knew I was on camera and like, another pair of eyes was watching me. Slow down, breathe. I honestly feel like it was a tough problem, but I feel like I could have eventually got it with brute force if I was just chilling on my own on doing leak code or something. I think I could have gotten it. I think I would have been able to think clear. I think I should do better just talking out my thought process. I just think I was quiet, not a lot, but enough to where it could have probably disengaged the person interviewing me. But then I also felt like I did good. Like I did ask you questions. I was trying to keep you engaged as well. But yeah, I just say compose myself because I think I could. I don't know what data structure to have used, the technical data structure to use, but I think I could have solved it. I really do think I could.
Yeah, I think so too. Even just watching you, there was a couple times I'm like, okay, he's getting pretty close to something here. This is really good. I was jumping to the good parts. Let me start on the improved parts because it's easy to squeeze in the good. You didn't solve it. So that's a bit of a bummer. I think you could have solved that second one, but it could have. It's one of those you have to speculate, because we didn't see you solve it. I think you could have solved that second one. If we'd started out on that second one, you probably could have solved it easily and had time to kill because it was just a little bit more of a simplified. This is a tricky one because you kind of have to keep track of things that you normally don't think of, like it's just not normally like counting the entries in other arrays, just not common. So that is challenging to solve. There was definitely, I think you did I gotta stay negative here. I keep looking at my good list here. There's a lot of really great things. The kind of awareness of how slice works and those kind of things. I think you were kind of grasping a few times. You're like, okay, like the slice, because you're just trying to grab out a single array. But in general, if you're already looping through it, you can access the whole array anyway. So you already had access to the entire array, and there wasn't really a need to slice it. I think there was.
What I was trying to do was I was trying to take out that first array, so I didn't have to keep track.
Yeah, that's actually really one of the strategies is actually to do what you're doing there. And I thought, maybe he's on track with this, but I think it's just kind of a tricky way to implement it. So it's hard because it's like if you get started down a road that technically could work, but it's just a little hard to kind of it would be hard to land that plane. I think, how do you know? This is your first time seeing it. So it's like, I think it was one of the things that is really key in solving this is an object or Hashmap is just a really helpful tool to use just to be able to track occurrences. So for you to be able to say, hey, how many times have I seen this word? And that's something that I'd like to see kind of the first line to say, okay, I'm going to use an object here to track this. And that's just one of those things that's I don't expect necessarily Junior to get that first go around, but as you kind of are continuing to do leak code and stuff, you'll start to see, hey, they're using objects all over the place here. Why are they using objects? And this is just a useful time to do it. Before I go on to the good, because it's a long list, any other thoughts on things you'd do differently?
Just take my time.
Yeah. Just relax. It's just it's easy to say, but it's really hard to in a stressful situation, knowing somebody's watching you, knowing you're being recorded, being okay, just be calm, to find a way to and I think the only way of doing it is have done it so many times that it's just, you can't type it wrong.
I think if I just put myself in these situations, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 times a week with just different people.
Yeah.
If I got into an interview, it would just be practice. It would feel like practice.
Yeah, you'd get numb to it. You just got to get the reps in. It's just like with any practice. You get to do it so many times that you're like, oh, it's this, and it's this, and it's this. And you're before you know it, it just, a sense of comfort kicks in when you start solving one of these because you've done it so many times. That's just a reps thing, start counting hundreds of hours kind of thing. Those things. Let's talk about good. There's a lot of good here. So one is you're an incredible communicator. So like I felt like it was really easy to kind of go back and forth, and like you were asking good questions. The pseudocode was good. I like how you thought through things. And when you wrote out the pseudocode, I'm like, oh, he's got this. This is going to be, I'm going to have to figure out something to do with the rest of our time, because it was so clear. It was you were very concise. You had it figured out. And I was like, okay, this is good. So there's probably 50 ways to solve this, but like you had a way of like, okay, he's doing the 2 loops. This was good. I thought whenever you hit a wall, and there was a couple times you're like, you could feel like, is he tapping out? It's like, is this it? Is he going to throw in the towel? You did. You said, hey, I'm going to go back and try something else. And you kept going back. I thought that was good. I thought that you did like show the ability to kind of use these different tools. You knew about slice, so that was good. You knew about the for and the for each, and you were kind of using those back and forth. And I thought, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. I thought that was really good. The nested, I think you managed that really well. You knew what to expect along the way. I thought that was good. I thought it was just, it was continual progress throughout the entire thing. It's frustrating because it's like one of those, like if you had solved it, I feel like you could have gone back and cleaned up some of the, just clean things up, but when it's not solved, it's hard to really know what that would have looked like.
Yeah.
But I thought you were definitely like making good progress and you're on track. Like if I felt like I gave you a ticket, you'd solve the ticket. Like, because most tickets at a job would not be this complex. It would be like implement this component and you'd do it, no problem. So I think you would definitely be able to succeed at a job. So that's not even an issue. It's just like these little things. You're like, okay, if there's 50 people applying for this job and people can ace this, then that's going to reflect accordingly. But this is a tricky problem. I will say this is probably harder than what you would get expected in a junior interview. When
you refactored the question and made it like 10 times easier, would that be something that
yeah, I could probably see that being like in a junior interview, something kind of like that. The thing is I've seen it all over the place. I've seen it where there's a ton of applicants, so they just level up the difficulty of the problem. That's just a great way of filtering down applicants, because you can just say, well, whoever can answer this, it gets it down 50 down to 5, and now we can like just chat with the rest. So if you're at a place that's kind of like hungry for applicants, you're probably not going to see a problem like this. You're going to see like, hey, we'll take if they kind of know how to do something in React, and instead of doing an algorithm interview, and I know you want to do an algorithm interview, but if we'd done like a React one, I think you would have been fine. I think you would have been able to hold your own. I'm not worried about that, because you knew the main things about React, which is mapping, destructuring, at least arrays. You've messed with TypeScript, and I don't think you would have been fine. You showed capacity for handling those kind of things. Let me show you a solution, and people watching this might have better solutions, but I did this kind of while you were doing yours, just to kind of like, so I could have something to show you, but also to kind of be like, wait a second, how hard is this? And it's not like, oh, easy. It's like, oh, I had to like, interesting. This is a little tricky. So, give yourself credit for getting as far as you did. So let me share my screen. Let me know when you can see this. So this is a solution. I'm not saying this is the solution. It's a solution. So I have a hash map, also known as an object. I think when people do algorithms, they just call them hash maps. So anyway, that's just
really just an object, because I haven't worked with that. Like I've heard the word, but is it just an object?
It's just an object. It's just an object. In other languages, there are lots of different words for these things, and they do slightly different things. But like in Python, they call them dictionaries and different things. But hash map is just kind of what they're called in algorithms. But anyway, it's just an object with key value. So key value pairs, and so that's going to come into, and every key is unique. So that means that it's a way of keeping track of things. And then a result is just going to be what I return. So it's just a list of unique words. And what I do is I go through it's a matrix, right? An array and arrays. And so I go through each of these, and now I have word arrays. These are arrays of words. And what I want to do is I want to get rid of all the duplicates in there, because the problem you mentioned, which is like, oh, what about the goodbye problem? Or the hello problem, where there's multiple hellos in there. Yeah. So I just do this little trick, and there's a bunch of ways of doing this, but just getting the unique words. And so a set can't have duplicates. And then you just put it back in the array. You kind of spread it out, doing this little spread technique. Again, some of these are like, I wouldn't expect you to do that, but however you do it, cleaning it up is it can be useful in this case. So that way, cleaned is now the unique words within that array. And now for each of those cleaned words in that array, I just check in my master list, my master kind of like all the words. I check does it exist? If so, increment the count. In other words, I want to count all the words in the entire list. If not, kind of set it to 1. And that's just the shorthand for that. But basically, like at the end of this, and I'll console log this out just so we can kind of see. At the end of this, word matrix. There it is. If we console log this out, you'd kind of see what you get there. This word matrix. Not word matrix. Hashmap. So the hash map, you get basically this back out is the words and their counts.
Yeah, and then you return all the ones with 1.
You return all the ones with 1.
That's what you're doing in the for let.
And all I'm doing here is I'm saying, okay, I'm going to go through all the keys, and if it's equal to 1, add it to the result. And this is a freebie. Like I think you would have gotten this. And the biggest trick here, I think, is cleaning the array. So that way, yes, there are multiple hellos, but this cleans it out. So that way there's just 3 words in there. And now you can do that check, and it's going to be unique per array. So again, this is one of those that, like, once you see the answer, it's like, well, yeah, okay, well, this isn't that hard. You could have gotten this. I think it's just like any given day, depending on like the way the wind's blowing and, you know, how you're feeling and how the interview's going, you might be able to solve this. So this one is a little trickier. But now you see the result. Does this kind of make sense?
Yeah. So you cleaned the array and you made it only to where there wasn't duplicates in a single array, and then you added each one to a hash map, if I'm correct. And then and then in the for let key in hash map, if it's more than 1, you don't return it. Are you?
Yeah. Because in doing this, it becomes the second problem I gave you.
Yeah.
In doing this, it becomes if I see that word twice, by definition, it was in 2 arrays.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I get it now.
So that, I mean, again, it's like a magic trick. Like once you know the trick, it's like, well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You kind of feel ripped off because it really is. It is easy once you know it. Once you see it, you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But it is a kind of tricky because like our brains aren't normally doing this kind of thing. So like that's no real reason that you would know how to do that unless you're just like a crazy person who does leak code all day.
Yeah.
So either become the crazy person who does leak code all day, or just like say, okay, this is, you know, lesson learned, kind of do that. But a common pattern is to use hash maps to do this counting thing, just to get like the number of instances. That's very common. And that's why I know there's probably cleaner ways, but that's why I kind of know this pattern because I've done it enough that, hey, if I want to just count the number of instances, if it exists, increment the number. If it doesn't exist, make it 1. And so that way you get a count of everything. And that can be really useful if you're trying to find, for example, the highest occurrence of words or the word that happens the most. Okay, well, you can just do this and then just find the word that's with the highest count, you know, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of useful ways of using the hash map counting approach. There you go. Yeah. So let me stop sharing here. So how do you feel? Like it was good? Feel like it was useful?
Yeah, that was perfect. Yeah, I feel a lot more confident. Well, a lot more confident. I mean, your feedback makes me even feel better. Based off the technical questions at the beginning, I got comfortable and I was like, oh, this isn't too bad. The algorithm problem wasn't bad. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, I feel good. What would you say? Like, not necessarily would you hire me, but like, do you think I'm capable of, on the right team, I'm capable of making an impact?
No, 100%. Like if I were to bring you on, like give you a couple of weeks, I don't even think I'd be leaving many comments on your pull requests. Like I think you'd hold your own. Like by definition, the point of the interview is to find your breaking point. You know, it's to find where is the line, because it could be one of those that you're coming as a junior and we should hire you as a mid. And so this is one of those where I was like, this guy's like, especially during the verbal, I was like, this is looking really strong. So I'm going to kind of stay out of the algorithms where I'm not going to jump in as much and I'm just going to kind of see. And it was one of those where it was like, I know you had some issues and stuff like that. And it's a tricky problem, but I still feel confident that like kind of left to your own devices, you could solve this no problem. And I feel like on a team left with given like React questions, kind of more simplistic things, you wouldn't have any issue at all. So yeah, I feel really great. So I would say your homework is kind of leave no stone unturned on the JavaScript. Even if you're like, I'm never going to use this, at least know about it. You know, find one of those like 90-minute, 3-hour complete JavaScript that's like boring, and just like, okay, note it down, say, I'm never going to use this, but okay, I know about it. So that way, if it comes up in an interview, you can talk about it. Or if in one of your projects, you happen to need it, like you're at least familiar with it. And then the second thing is just getting the reps on algorithms. So there's no pretty beautiful way around that. I've got a list I can share you if you want to, like, hey, where do I start? But it sounds like you're already kind of doing some leak code stuff, and I think it's a great way to just kind of get in some reps. I would say, try and get in double digits on leak code every week, just in case you find your dream job and they for some reason expect you to do algorithms. You'd hate to lose it just because you get kind of caught, get caught kind of stressing out and can't get your, you got to get in the reps to where it's easy,
I remember you saying about the blind 75. Was that the list you were working on?
Yeah, that's a great place to start for sure. And I'll give you a link here.
That's what I was practicing on, and then it would kill my confidence getting to a medium problem and being lost. So
yeah, I would just say you're not going to be exposed to a medium as a junior. I think this would this be a junior? I think this may still technically be an easy, the one I gave you today, but here's what to work on each week, that kind of thing. And that's a great place to start. And the reality is just like, find a way to measure your effort, not in number of problems solved, but like time or some way of measuring victory, because some of these it's just really hard. I would just say get to the point where you can solve easies pretty much 90% of the time without looking, and be able to solve them fast too, because there's nothing more rewarding and satisfying than sitting down for a really stressful interview and they pull up a problem you've practiced earlier that day and you've done so many times. Your hands, you don't even think, your hands just do it because you've done it so many times, and you got to fake like you're really worried about it. You're like, oh man, let me think about this. This is hard. I haven't seen this one before. You got to like really fake like you're stressed, and then you start typing out like and just bang it out in 30 seconds. It is really satisfying. So focus on easies and just get to the point you could ace those blind.
Appreciate it. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll be in touch, and I'll send this over whenever we get it all cut together.
Thank you.
Awesome. No problem. See you. Bye.